flipped around. Oh, crap. He is mad. He closed the door behind him and just stood there staring at me. And y'all, oh my goodness, I'm ashamed to say, but he was still looking so fine in his navy blue suit pants and suspenders. His tie was gone, and the first few buttons on his shirt was open. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing his big, muscled forearms. His cheek muscle was twitching so hard, it caused the little muscle in his temple to throb. His fist was balled up as if, you look like you want to lay hands on me, I said in a small voice, giving him a little smile. I held open my hands in front of me, not wanting to flash anything red in front of this bull that looked as if he was going to charge me any minute. I do. He spoke in that low, deadly voice that he used sometimes that was so intimidating. My heartbeat tripled as he walked towards me. But, remember you said a man that hit a woman ain't I reminded him as I took a step back, bumping into the nightstand. He ain't, which is why no matter how much I want to, I'm not going to hit you. Whew, boy, that is good to know. I visibly relaxed, although inside I was not relaxed, not one bit, because he was still walking towards me as if he wanted to hurt me. Well, why are you still walking towards me looking all mad? I asked, trying not to let my panic bleed through my words. His smile was wicked. I'm not going to hit you, but I am going to lay hands on you. He lunged at me, but I'm agile, if nothing else. Easily, I dodged him, crawling swiftly across the bed. When my feet landed on the floor, I flew towards the door. For a big guy, he was fast because I made it halfway across the room before I felt his strong arm wrapped around my waist, bringing me to a complete stop. Caleb, wait, Caleb, I can explain, I screeched. He put me against the wall and lifted me off my feet by my collar. My toes dangled in the air. His face was a mask of rage. He was so mad, he stole my breath. I was never so close to a man enraged before. Well, except those couple times, my brother got real mad at me. But he was my brother. I knew he wasn't gonna hurt me. This dude, who knew? Explain what? There's nothing you can tell me that can explain how you had my child and wasn't gonna say nothing. His words came from between clenched teeth. He was so mad I could feel the rage traveling through his body. That ain't right, Monica. I know, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't bother lying to him because he was scaring the hell out of me right now. You were in jail. I was graduating high school and my grandmother had been through so much. She was still grieving the death of my brother. Tears came to my eyes and they began to roll down my cheek. I didn't want to put her through any more stress. It was messed up, I know. Everything went wrong for me after that night. I made a mistake. It was all a mistake. I mean, Eve was not a mistake. I love her, but I lost my scholarship to Juilliard. My words came out rapid and choppy. You. It's all about you. He dropped me to my feet and turned away as if he couldn't stand to touch or look at me anymore. I had a lot of things going on too before you brought your ass up over to my place, playing games and shit. He rubbed his hands through his short hair and began to pace, reminding me of a caged animal. Oh dear, Yah, why can't this nightmare just end already? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Why do I have to keep paying for it? With hands that shook, I wiped away my tears. You know what? None of that matters now. He turned to look at me. I still stood with my back pressed against the wall, too scared to even move. What's done is done. Tomorrow morning, we're going down to City Hall and getting married. My mouth dropped open. His words was like a punch to my gut. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. I was so taken off guard that it took my brain a minute to fully process what he had just said. When his words were fully processed, my fear dissolved like ice in an oven. Nigga, you crazy. At this point, I didn't care if he pulled out his gun I know he carried in the back of his pants and shot me. I wasn't marrying him. And for a moment, he just stood there frowning at me. "Please," he spat, "get over yourself. If you think I want to marry a deceitful, lying, manipulating little girl that needs to grow the hell up for the sake of our daughter, you're wrong." I folded my arms insulted. No, the hell, he didn't just say that to me. He doesn't know anything about me. If you could just stop thinking about yourself for a minute and start thinking about our daughter, then maybe you will see that it's better for us to be married than for Eve to come up a bastard. But you're so selfish. It doesn't matter what's best for Eve, only what's best for you, right? How dare he? Of course I wasn't that selfish. I'm not selfish. I just don't think we have to be married. Men and women have kids all the time without getting married. Of course, I was only speculating. I never knew my dad, and my mom died when I was 3. So technically, I didn't know how well that situation worked out for a child caught in the middle. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna do that to my child. And if something happens to me, she gets everything. I worked too hard for what I got, and I don't want my daughter having to fight for what's hers. I placed my hand on my hip. Why in the hell he's standing there talking like he have a legit business? Look, buddy, she good. We don't need that drug empire. You can take that with you when you go. He narrowed his eyes at me. And right then I realized it may have been just a little too soon for my lip. He began to slowly walk towards me. "Oh, big brain Monica. You got it all figured out, don't you? Damn, what did the world do before you and your big ass brain was born?" He came to a complete stop right in front of me. "You keep talking like you innocent." My neck rolled with each word I said. "Your brother said y'all need to get in contact with the Cubans. Now I put my hand on my chest. I'm not claiming to be the sharpest pencil in the box. But even I know that you and the Cubans ain't finna get together and hand out little heart-shaped cupcakes to orphans." His nostrils flared as he looked down at me. I could tell he really wanted to lay hands on me right now. He was standing so close I could smell his spicy cologne. "Boy, that mouth of yours." He nodded his head, finishing the sentence to himself. It was hard to discern what was in that intense gaze of his. I looked away from him and stared out the window because he was standing too close to me. He was just so big and commanding. It was a bit much to be my size and try to stand up to him. Not to mention the fact that he smelled really good. It was as if he found power in a cologne bottle and sprayed it all over himself. "Look, we don't have to stay married long," he said quietly. I turned to look back up at him. "What do you mean?" "Just for the 2 years you owe me. That will be long enough for me to get all my affairs in order. Get you and Eve's name on things so that everything goes to you and her. You're a liar, but I believe you're a good mom, and you'll take care of things for her." "You talking like you finna die," I said quietly. He gave a dry chuckle before turning to sit on the bed facing me. His long legs were spread wide, and he leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Suddenly, he looked tired. As a matter of fact, he always looked tired, including the first time I met him. "You just never know when your time is going to come to an end. I want to be prepared to make sure Eve is straight, just in case." I was still standing with my back against the wall looking at him. He was so big, he made this room feel small. 2 years is a long time to stay married, don't you think? I can't believe I was actually considering this. Although, it would offer a little relief because I did feel like crap not being able to tell people who my child's father was. Not to mention the thought of one day having to explain to Eve why she didn't have a father was terrifying. He exhaled before laying his big body back on the bed, bringing his hands up, rubbing down his face. It seemed as if he had a lot on his mind, and Eve and I just made things that much more complicated. I stood straight up and came to stand by the bed where I could look down on his face. His hands were clasped together on top of his head and his eyes were closed. He looked really tired. "Caleb," I said quietly. His eyes opened and those deep, penetrating orbs stared up at me. "You don't have to do this. You don't have to make things more complicated than they already are. This is a huge mess, and if we get married, it will only make things worse." He sat up. His muscle body moved like a big cat. "Nah, we're getting married, period." He looked up at me. "Go get my daughter. Bring her up here and introduce her to her dad." He spoke in a tired, no-nonsense way, and before I caught myself, I was on my way to do exactly what he had just said. But wait, the marriage conversation was closed? What the world? You can't just close a conversation, I said, putting my hand on my hip. He chuckled. "Sure I can. I've made up my mind." Man, look, this dude was crazy. "Yeah, but it's the two of us. Are you gonna marry yourself?" I asked, frowning down at him. He rubbed the back of his neck with his hand. "Look, Monica, I don't like repeating myself. I've made my decision. Now go and get my daughter, bring her up here, and introduce her to her daddy." The frown he now had on his face was really frightening. But damn that. He can't just boss me around. "Yeah, but you're not the boss of me." He began to chuckle. "Oh, sweetheart, you could not be more wrong. You have to know, Eve is a game changer." He stood, and I took a step back because, yeah, he was huge. He began to stalk me, and I continued to step back until my back was completely against the wall. He stopped right in front of me. He was so close that when I took a breath, my chest rubbed up against his belly. He put his left elbow on the wall above my head. Then he brought his other hand up and gently took my chin in his palm. He wasn't hurting me, but he was letting me know that he could if he wanted to. "There is much in this world that I'm not sure of." He gently stroked my cheek. He lowered his head and was speaking so close to my lips that if I moved just a little, our lips would touch. "But there's one thing I'm 100% sure of." His eyes slowly raked over my face, taking me in so fully. They raked over my eyes, my nose, and they lingered on my lips. "You're mine," he whispered, before he took my lips. My knees buckled from the force of his kiss. His mouth forced mine open, and the only thing I could do was just hold on to his arms so I don't get swept away. The kiss was so, oh goodness. I moaned, becoming consumed by his flame. His lusty kiss was causing things to happen in my belly and my girly parts. How can he kiss me this way, causing all my resistance to just wash away? I knew he was my enemy, but right now I couldn't think of the reason why. I knew I shouldn't let him kiss me this way. It was so scandalous the way his hungry mouth drew from my lips. But I loved it. I loved what it did to my body and how he made me feel. My fist was balled up with his shirt in my palms as his seeking mouth made its way down to my neck. My head fell back against the wall. With the same force he used to draw from my lips, he sipped from my neck. I had to squeeze my legs together. My moans were becoming louder. Goodness, this man brought out a very primal side of me. When his mouth made its way back to mine, I was ready, willing, and able. But he broke off the kiss and stood there looking down at me, breathing heavy. He was angry. Angry that he had kissed me. Angry that at this moment he wanted me just as much as I wanted him. "Now, for the third time," he spoke low as he used his thumbs to gently stroke my sore, throbbing, kiss-swollen lips. "Go get my daughter. Bring her up here and introduce her to her daddy." Well, dang. Dang. The only thing I could do was nod and then head towards the door. As I was going down the stairs, I realized two things. One, the most important, I was screwed. Two, Caleb was a grown-ass man. And if I wanted to get out this jam I had successfully put myself in, I had to turn my game way up. And in order for me to do that, I had to stay away from his lusty lips. They were too distracting. They caused me to forget everything I should never forget. Every time he kissed me, my good sense just flew out the window. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't have that much to spare in the first place. I plopped on the couch next to Eve, who was still playing with Caleb's car keys. Nana was shaking her head at the news. What happened now? I asked, but I was only halfway listening. My mind was racing. It seemed like this situation was spiraling out of control. Marriage? Hell no. That wasn't happening. I just needed to figure a way out. Girl, birds is falling out the sky, dropping dead to the ground. I was so lost in my thoughts, Nana's voice seemed far away. That's good, Nana. You see, if he was just a normal guy, this would be easy. But he was a mob boss. When people disobeyed him, they showed up floating in the lake. Look at what he had done to old boy who had hit me. I rubbed my hands down my face like Caleb had just done twice. That's good, Nana screeched, looking at me as if I lost my mind. She stood shaking her head. Child, I'm telling you, the end is here. She picked up the remote and turned off the TV. I'm gonna lay down for a little while. I picked up the grocery bags you left by the door. Looks like we're gonna have us a treat for dinner tonight. Wake me up when it's done, she called from over her shoulder, walking through the kitchen door to her bedroom. I frowned after her. She didn't even ask how our guests were settling in. I looked at Eve, who was in baby heaven with Caleb's keys. Every time she pressed the button, a red light flashed. When she pressed the other, it flashed twice. She was probably unlocking and relocking his car doors out there. Any luck, she'll leave it open and somebody come jack the car. Eve, I whispered, looking over at her from where my head lay back on the couch pillow. She asked without even looking up. You want to go upstairs and meet somebody? She looked up at me then, dropping the keys and holding up her arms. I smiled as I scooped her up. You are the smartest baby in the whole world. You know that? She had the nerve to nod. When I got to Caleb's door, I paused for just a moment. Oh man, this was huge. There was no going back after this. Once he's introduced as her daddy, that was it. She would officially have another parent in her life. One that's a drug dealer and a mob boss. I exhaled, dropping my head. Oh yeah, this was all my fault. I may have just messed up my daughter's life. I wish I could make him go away so I could continue on with my life as before. But there was no making Caleb do nothing he didn't want to do. Obviously, he took being a father serious. So serious, he was ready to get married so Eve won't be a bastard. Come inside, Monica. Don't go chicken on me now. His deep, tired voice came from the room. I inhaled and turned the corner into the room. He was half laying on the bed like he had been earlier. When we walked in, he sat up. I sat on the bed next to him with Eve in my lap. He turned to look at her, smiling down at her. Eve, I began, but I had to clear my throat because the lump there was impairing my speech. Baby, this is your daddy, Caleb, I told her. She looked at him and smiled, and I saw him fall in love with her right before my eyes. He went down on one knee in front of us. Hey baby, he said. Amazingly, there were unshed tears in his eyes. How are you, princess? Eve was at that stage when she pretty much repeated everything someone else said. So she just asked her daddy how he was and then called him princess. That caused his Adam apple to bob up and down as he laughed from what she said. Then after a moment, he sobered, picking up her little hand with his finger. Baby, Daddy's sorry. For a moment, he paused, looking down at her little fingers. I'm sorry for so many things, but mostly, I'm sorry for not being here for you until now. But you don't have to worry about that anymore because I'm here now. And I'm gonna make sure everything is all good for you, sweetheart. Eve reached for his watch that probably cost more than our whole house. He held out his hands to her. Will you come to Daddy? Eve squealed and threw herself into his arms. Ouch. That hurt. I felt betrayed. He stood with her in his hands, hugging her close. I rolled my eyes to keep from crying. He gently chugged me underneath my chin. Don't be jealous. Ain't nobody jealous, I mumbled. I didn't even sound believable to my own ears. He chuckled, shaking his head, sitting back on the bed next to me. I looked down at my nails. Wow, I never thought I would be here. I didn't think I would have to share my child with him. Then something else came to me. Something I needed to tell him before it was too late. Look, can you not tell my Nana about any of this? Any of what? That I'm Eve's daddy? I nodded. He threw up his hands. Whatever. That's between y'all. You be a good girl, and your secret is safe with me. I frowned at him. Are you gonna blackmail me? He chuckled. I don't have to blackmail you, baby. You gonna do what I say do, on your own free will. I couldn't help but laugh at that. Am I now? He grinned, returning my challenging look. Yep. He ran his finger down Eve's little cheek. His hand looked huge next to her face. And if I don't? I had to know. I had to know what he was going to do. Are you going to make me disappear? He looked up at me then. His eyes were searching mine. Monica, you're the mother of my child. I will never hurt you. I don't know if I believed him. So, if you got real mad at me, real mad, you won't have me killed? He frowned. Why would you say that? He asked the question like it was something wrong with me. Dude, I saw you kill a man. He nodded as if he understood my line of questioning now. Several times, I had to pay medical bills for some unfortunate girl who got on Jermaine's bad side. He did a real number on a few of them. I talked to him. I told him to get his stuff together or he couldn't work for me anymore. He'd clean up his act, be good for a few months, then he'd turn around and do it again. The last time he put his own mother in the hospital. So I put him in the bed next to her. That was his warning. When I got out of jail, he came begging me for a job. Said he was clean. I told him he only had one chance to mess up and he was out. But what did he do? He went way past messing up. He put his hands on my woman. He shook his head. There was no coming back from that. To hide the fact that his words made me feel all warm inside, I pressed on with my line of questioning. So, I don't have to fear that you're going to kill me? He shook his head before looking down at Eve, who was now playing with his suspenders and slobbering over it as she tried to put it in her mouth. What's wrong with your mama? He spoke to her in baby language. No, baby, don't put that in your mouth. It's nasty. He took the gold part of his suspenders out of her mouth. I don't know. Seeing this killer talk baby talk was kind of cute. No, Monica. Get your head back in the game. Remember, this is the man that killed your brother. Your brother! I stood. Okay, that's all I need to know. I reached my hands out for Eve. She opened her arms for me and I lifted her out of his lap. I turned to walk out the room, but he grabbed me by my wrist, bringing me to a stop. You think you have me all figured out, but you don't. I'm a very patient man. I guarantee you, I can handle anything your mischievous little mind can come up with. I snatched my hand from his. We'll see. See, there was more than one way to skin a cat. If this guy thought for 1 minute I was going to let him control me, he had another thing coming. Dinner will be ready in an hour, I called over my shoulder as Eve and I left. Eve sat on the floor playing by my feet as I made dinner. I had a huge smile that I couldn't wipe off my face because tonight I was going to get a little revenge. You see, I only bought enough steaks for Nana, Eve, and I, which meant Mr. Man was going to have to eat some leftover chicken from Chucky's. Oh, I couldn't wait to see his face. I was so giddy and ready for this revenge that I hurried with dinner, and when it was done, I nearly ran to call him and Nana to the table. As I waited for them to come, I washed Eve's hands and set her in a hot chair. Caleb and Nana came in the kitchen at the same time. He came through the living room door and she came from her bedroom door. Here, baby, sit here, I heard her tell him. I shook my head. I had my back turned to them both while putting the finishing touches on dinner. Something smells good, his deep voice came from behind me. Yes, it does. You see, we don't normally eat this good around here, but Monica brought a special meal home. I think she's celebrating the new job she got today. Oh my goodness. I closed my eyes. My Nana had a big mouth. Oh, you got a new job? Caleb asked. Nope. I'm celebrating not getting a job, I told him without turning around. I told you, chill it off, I heard my Nana whisper. I can hear you. After I was done cutting up Eve's meat into teeny pieces, I placed her plate in front of her. Once that was done, I couldn't help the feeling of glee that came over me. I felt like one of those, those evil scientists that had finally conquered the plot to rule the world. Showtime. I put on a sad face as I turned with Caleb's plate, placing it in front of him. Then I put mine and Nana's on the table. Sorry, Caleb. I didn't know we were going to have company and I only had enough steak for us. I brought home that chicken a few nights ago. It should still be good. I pulled out my chair across from Eve's and said, Monica, Nana hissed at me as if he couldn't hear her. What is wrong with you? She stood. Here, baby, you can have mine, she said, reaching for Caleb's plate. Oh, no ma'am, that's all right. I can eat the chicken, he said. Absolutely not. I insist. He said he all right with the chicken. I all but yelled at her. What was she doing? She was ruining this for me. Do you know she had the nerve to roll her eyes at me before taking his plate and replacing it with hers? He looked down at his steak and potatoes before looking back up at me. The fact that he was holding back the smirk was the final straw. Why did you do that? I asked my Nana as she sat back in her chair with the plate of old chicken. I could have screamed. We don't give our guests old, stale food. I opened my mouth to argue with her, but that stubborn look on her face let me know it would do no good. I held my head down, feeling so frustrated I could have cussed. Now she made me feel like crap, because it wasn't my enemy with the old chicken, it was my grandmother. Grudgingly, I pulled the plate away from her and switched it with mine. What you doing, baby? She asked. I'll eat the old chicken, I said under my breath, soaking like a little girl. My Nana looked at me and blinked twice. Well, if you insist." She bowed her head and blessed her food, then picked up her knife and fork and dug in. My mouth dropped. What the world? I turned to look back at Caleb. By this time, his lips were quivering from him trying to hold back his laugh. I narrowed my eyes, sending him the message that he better not laugh at me. And I guess that was all he could take because he burst. He held his head back and roared with laughter. Oh, y'all, I can't even begin to explain the hate that was shooting through me right now. He laughed so hard, tears began to roll down his cheeks. Every time it seemed as if he was going to stop, he would look at me with my angry face and start back up again. I folded my arms, shooting my Nana a glance, curious to see what she thought about this rude behavior of his. Do you know, the little troublemaker was looking down at her newspaper as she chewed, as if she was too lost in the news to notice him sitting right across the table, laughing his head off at me. Then I saw that she was struggling to hold back her own laughter. Caleb, who was now using his napkin to dry his eyes. "Oh, Monica, oh, I ain't laughed this hard since I was a kid," he spoke as he tried to calm his laughter. My Nana smiled then, real pleased with herself. When Caleb had his mirth controlled for the most part, he picked up his knife and fork and cut into his steak. And after putting a piece in his mouth, he looked at me and nodded. It's really good. Juicy. My mouth fell back open. "No, this Nick." He burst again, laughing at my shame. I nodded. That's okay. He can laugh now, but I'm going to have the last laugh because guess what? Tomorrow, when he wakes up and is ready for us to get married, he going to find me gone. I call it Operation Runaway Bride. I picked up my chicken and bit into it. Oh, damn. It was horrible.